Hi, Michelle Cowan here, head of AFLW at West Coast Eagles. Proud to be here. Speak with Tam on 50-50.
Welcome back to 50-50. I am really excited to have Michelle Cowan here with me today for so many different reasons, Michelle. So Michelle, as many of you will know, is the, correct me if I'm wrong, head of football for the AFLW West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on. How good is that? I was reading about your story, of course, before we met, and yeah, what a journey, man. We'll talk about that in a minute. But how did we meet? We were both talking at an event. I think I had spoken, you were about to speak. We go, hey, how are you? Swap. Then I sent you my talk because you hadn't had a chance to see it all. Then you very kindly and in my great excitement listened to the podcast and liked it. And then a couple of weeks ago, I've been thinking, I'm just going to talk to who I want. And I reached out and said, would you like to come and talk to me? And I thought, this woman is going to be too busy for this. And you came back and said, love to. And I was so excited.
Yeah, honoured to be here. And it's amazing when you're speaking, you meet so many incredible people and connections. But yeah, I'm here straight off the track, training with the AFLW team, but really good to be here, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, I love that you're straight off the track. It just totally adds to everything. Like, I feel like I'm looking at you in your role, like we're literally still on the track, right?
Yeah.
It actually is a really good question, but before I ask that question, I must acknowledge, I said to you before we started, the only person more excited about this interview than me is my father. We are both members of the AFLW, and when I told him that you were coming on, he said, how do I listen to that? And that was the first time he said he wants to listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you, Michelle. It's a tragic story, but I really appreciate that you've garnered his interest. Now, what I wanted to say was, on the track, you are head of football. I passionately love football and I love the Eagles to that kind of unhealthy, could get a tattoo level, right? But I have no understanding of football. So when people say, oh, this is BS, what's the coach doing? I'm extremely quiet because I don't know what the coach should be doing. And therefore I just go, I hope things get better if they're bad and I'm loving that things are good. You're the head of football, but you came up through coaching. And I remember from your talk, your passion was coaching. But you said, I've just come from training. So does that mean you still get to... What happens now?
Yeah, I totally went out of my lane today. I got involved. I was out on the track. I helped out a little bit. Daisy called me into a couple of drills and things like that. So I love putting on my Coach Cowan hat when I can.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty clear on what my role is. But happy to help in any way. And they were a bit short on numbers, school holidays, there's a couple of coaches away and things like that. So I just needed to stand a mark and happy to play that role and get out there and get involved when I can. And there's times when I can't. So the opportunity presents. So I get back out there and reflect back on my coaching days, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, that's what I imagine. So having seen you talk and hearing your passion for coaching, and we'll talk a little bit about how you came up as a coach, but that's what I thought. I thought two things. One, is it a treat to do anything to do with coaching, like kind of like a dessert because you're doing your normal meal and then you're like, I'm out on the track, awesome. But secondly, sometimes when people are successful like you've been, they become the head of football, and that role must have a lot in it that is not the old dream of coaching. So you can answer or not answer this question, but do you find that you miss coaching too much, or because I don't understand what your role really entails, what's life like now day to day versus what it was like being a coach, and what's the good and bad of both, or like the podcast 50-50, right?
Yeah. I get asked that a lot, like about your role. And actually this week I'm a mentor for a young girl. She's my mentee, and I invited her to come into the footy club and see a day in the life of Michelle and just see everything that I do. But you never know what's going to happen in a day. You, like a lot of people, you have your to-do list and the key things that you want to get done, and then you rock up to work and something else gets thrown at you, and that consumes you for the full day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got an incredible team that I work with who are responsible for their key pillars, whether that be the medical side, the high performance side, the wellbeing side, the coaching side. Incredible coach in Daisy Pierce. And when you have these amazing people who facilitate and run their areas, I get to work with them, and I guess can escalate to me if they need any assistance, but happy to help in any way. And I think also the 3 to 5 year strategic planning of the AFLW team, the list management side of things, that all sits in the role that I have. So it's a dynamic role. You never know what's going to happen day to day, week to week, or there might be an injury out on the track and things like that. And then making sure that we communicate effectively and efficiently to the executive and the board and things like that. So, but yeah, it's an absolute honour to be in the role that I have. Only 18 people have this job in the entire country, and I'm one of them.
Right.
Having coached for 20 years.
I was going to say, how many years was it?
And now 5 years in off-field leadership. I think I actually prefer this role than I did coaching, actually.
That is a surprise to me. I think because when I heard about your passion for coaching, I thought, has life... I just made stuff up, right? I thought, has life caught Michelle in her success and had her keep going up the ladder, but actually she really still wants to be a coach, but actually you are relishing the challenge of this role?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the holistic... This role is so holistic. You have to be across the off-field, the on-field, the entire footy club. I feel I've got a greater influence in the footy club than I did when I was coaching, in the coaching roles that I did have.
Yes.
And, yeah, the ability to lead in different ways when you got 18-year-old girls coming through, but then you're reporting to the board and things like that. So a really dynamic and exciting role, and, yeah, I'm really loving it. I'm learning every day about it as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's
Yeah, I actually really get when you say the influence you can have, because I actually get, as the coach, there is a lot of influence, but it's narrower. Now you can go, what does this whole picture look like? Communicate upwards, communicate downwards, still mentor, make a bigger difference. And when I think about when I saw you speak and your passion for this world, it does make sense to me that this is better, because it's like more challenging, more fulfilling, broader. Yeah, I get it, why it's like coaching was awesome. I did it for a long time. I'm happy when I can go and have a run around, but I like this bigger thing.
Yeah, and certainly I feel like I get a great fix of game day. Like, I work really closely with Daisy, and last year I was on the headset to her in the coach's box. So you still, because we're limited with resources and staff, you'll play whatever role you have to play. So, yeah, and that adrenaline on game day, the love of the game, and to be in it, you still get that good fix. The other thing I think, which is great, is having experienced coaching. I know what Daisy is going through in the lead up to round one.
Yes.
The ability to support her with her young family, and I'd been there when I was coaching with a young family.
Yes.
Support her when the media aren't being as kind as we would like them to be, or when she needs to fill up her cup and I need to fill up my cup. And so having been a senior coach, the demands, I've lived them, and I think that gives me great armour to be able to support Days in her role, and vice versa. I think anybody in a head of women's footy role to go into coaching is a great thing to know, that the program is far bigger than just coaching. There's the medical, the high performance, the wellbeing, the list management, so you can get a great understanding of the whole program, and then when you're coaching, really appreciate the level of involvement that everybody needs in order for them to make the team work.
Yeah, that whole picture and the difference at each level. Oh, it must be great for Daisy to have you and have that background as well, because you can hear your connection with her. And you know that saying, people join a company and leave a boss? And are you officially her line manager? Is that how the organisation works?
Yeah, we've got John Worsfold as well, who's come on board at the footy club only recently,
Yes.
and I report to him, and Days reports to myself,
Yeah.
but she's got Woosha mentoring her as well.
Okay.
And she works really closely with Minnie, our male senior coach, and so there's a lot of people, supporting each other. But Woosh has been a game changer for us.
Has he?
Yeah.
Has he? Of course, I know him as the coach for so long and have followed him for so long. I saw him once. I used to contract for AFLW, and he came in to give a talk, and this is not important in terms of his career, but he's much more handsome in real life than he's. I was like, it's John's fault. Yeah, that talking about that has brought up a few different questions for me. When I was looking at your history, and I saw that you were born in South Africa, is that right?
Yeah.
But came to Kambalda when you were 4. So, do you have any memory of South Africa?
Not a whole lot. I remember where we lived. I'm the youngest of 3. I remember, not a whole lot. I'd love to go back. My dad just went back recently and saw his sisters, which was great.
Oh,
for him.
wow.
Hasn't seen them for over 30 years.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, I'd certainly love to get back there, but not a whole lot of memories. My sister, she's got great memories, and she shares them with me.
Oh, how nice. And then from there to Kambalda. So what brought the family to Kambalda?
Yeah, Dad was an electrician, so mining,
Yes.
Western mining. But we originally started in Australind, and then Dad worked on the mines in Boddington, and went to year 1 at Australind Primary School.
I was going to say you're in the country going to primary school.
Yeah, and then moved to Kambalda and was there for year 7, and then Mum and Dad sent me to boarding school. So, but that was only for the 1 year. I was fortunate. I think they might have missed me too much, so they all moved to Perth, which was nice.
Oh, that's so nice, because I wondered because you went to Iona, is that right?
Yeah.
And only for 1 year, because so I've been to Kambalda, and it's not a large place. And did you go to school in Kambalda?
Yeah, Kambalda West.
How many kids were in the primary school back then?
Too sure. I think, really small school, just one single stream for every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you play football yourself? Did your love of football come from Kambalda? What was the start of this vision that you had from a young child?
It would have started in Kambalda. I not really thought of that, but I would be watching the boys play, go down to the oval and just watch and kick a footy around, and just wanted people to see that I could kick a footy and I could play with the boys if they let me, but they wouldn't let me. But love of all sports, really. I was never inside the house. I was with a basketball, a soccer ball, a tennis racket, whatever it was. I just wanted to play sport.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're in Kambalda and not me, because Western Australia country is sport, right?
Yeah.
Like we came back from Shark Bay a couple of weeks ago and went through Northampton, and they've got all the big life-size fellows from AFL. And I thought, wow, Northampton is very good breeding ground for footballers, right? They've got all these champions. My great-grandparents are actually from the Chapman Valley, so the genes didn't reach me. My girlfriend, who's very sporty, used to live in Geraldton, and I'd go up and see her, and all we did was go to sport, go to progressive dinners based on the sporting club, go to the pub with the sporting club. And I said to her, I wouldn't have any mates. I'm such a numpty. I'm not good at sport. So I always think sport and country in Australia, they're so together, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Great communities, great connection. And, one of my best friends at primary school was my PE teacher. Like, we just got along so well, and I just wanted to do extras out of school and go running, and, it was some great times. And then I obviously got to go to boarding school for that year, and to get the opportunities to play after school sport. And as much as parents didn't really like it because I didn't want to study at all, I just wanted to play sport and would play every sport possible.
Well, weren't you at Iona when you announced you were going to be an AFL coach?
Yeah.
Was that, so you were 12, 11 or 12?
I was in year 9.
Okay.
So, just a bit of a workshop with your friends around the table. Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? And I've still got that piece of paper, and I said that I will be an AFL coach. And my friends all said the same. You'd have to say, where do you see Lisa in 10 years' time? Where do you see Vicky in 10 years' time? And they all, where do you see Michelle? Well, Michelle will be in the AFL and coaching. So
Oh, wow.
I was pretty clear. I reflect on really clear and driven that I was always going to be AFL football.
Yep.
It was, if I just looked at my life and my weekends,
Yeah.
I just spent so much time watching footy, and it was a love of the game that was like no other. And I'm a big believer, if you've got to work for 40 years of your life, why not do it doing something you absolutely love?
Yeah.
So I narrowed into that at a really young age, that to the point that I was probably a bit ruthless about it. I wasn't going to do anything else, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, well, you were clear as a bell, and I love that for you, the experience of just knowing what you wanted to do, and then nothing really stopped you, right? Like when I saw you speak, you talked about all the letters that you sent, and you got one reply, didn't you? Out of how many letters did you send, and what happened?
Yeah, that was I was just so driven. Like, I just thought, I'm going to put pen to paper. And some of the letters are really embarrassing. I've got them all now, but I look back at them, spelling mistakes and everything like that in them. And I think, geez, I could have got somebody to spell check that for me. Send them all to all 16 AFL clubs. And I ended up getting 14 back. So 2 clubs never wrote back to me, but the 14 all wrote back.
Oh, I like that happened. The 14 wrote back.
And 12 were thank you, but no thank you.
Yes.
But 2 gave me an opportunity, which was great.
It's amazing. What age were you when you wrote those letters?
17. So finished year 12, got into study PE, and I was there for about 2 weeks, and the textbooks just kept coming and coming and coming. And I thought, well, PE teaching, surely I just put a whistle around my neck and I play sport all day. But I had to learn about the human biology side of it, and I wasn't really enjoying it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to sit here and do all these textbooks. So that's when I went home and wrote my letters to all 16 AFL clubs, and I've got this handwritten checklist of every club when I've posted the letter out, when I got a reply back from the footy club. And to have these letterheads, and some of the people that wrote back to me, like David Park and Chris Connolly from Fremantle, like the actual senior coaches were writing back, because I was attention to the senior coach because I want a coaching job with you.
Appropriate.
So it's amazing to look at the replies that I got back, and I'd hope, and that's something I stayed true to myself now. If somebody reaches out to me after a speech, as we met, I hold myself accountable to writing back, because it meant so much to me that those clubs wrote back, and I want to do the same to people when they reach out.
Yeah, I love that they wrote back, and I'm really surprised that they wrote back, because it'd be so easy to rationalise, nah. But the fact that 2 of the 16 actually were willing to give you an opportunity. But what do you know in yourself what it was that had you have that clarity of vision? Was it purely that this love of this thing came into your life, and you were just, like when people cliched say, when you know about a marriage or a romantic thing, was it like that for you? You're like, football is my thing and I'm going to express it at the AFL.
Yeah, I think it was. My parents and my brother, really big with rugby in South Africa, Springboks, we follow, and then, but for me, it was sitting and watching a game of footy. I could watch 3 games on my Saturday, and my friends were going to parties or the beach, but I'd want to just go and watch local footy, 3 games in a row, and I could just sit there and watch it all day. And then I'd want to get home and watch whatever's on TV, the footy match that's on TV. And by the end of the weekend, I've watched about 8 games, but I've loved every single moment of it. And even to this day, I just watch so much footy, and I watch every AFLW game every weekend, much to my husband's disgust.
I was going to say, is there a level of patience going on?
Yeah, they know Mum's working when Mum's watching footy, the kids and Chris as well. But, it's just a love. It is purely a love for what it is. I love the game. I think it's a game for everybody. I love the athleticism, the physicality, the 360 nature of it. I love that it brings people together.
Yeah.
It's an incredible vehicle for connection and community, and yeah, it's just a great game. And I love cricket, and I love golf, but it's nowhere near as much as I love AFL football.
Yeah, right. It's kind of like versus love.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
When you were going to those games when you were young, you weren't just watching, were you? You were starting to analyse what was happening on the field. I feel like one of your first roles was to analyse what was happening on the field. Is that right?
That's right. So Geelong, a guy called Gary Davidson, he flew over here, and I met with him for over an hour and a half talking about what I wanted to do, and he was amazing, and he gave me my first ever opportunity, and it wasn't in coaching, but it was based over here in WA, going to other games and scouting, and I'd just write to him, was there any injuries in the game that's going to affect their preparation the following week? What were the starting positions? Anything that was going to affect Geelong preparing to take on that opposition. And I'd go out to Wickerpen and Geraldton, and I'd watch some local footy and let him know if I found any local talent that they should look at recruiting. But yeah, I watched a lot of the game and learnt so much about it by watching so many, and two opposing teams was really beneficial as well.
Yeah.
Still to this day, how I prefer to probably learn the trends and the changes within the game is I know how we want to play at West Coast Eagles, but to watch Gold Coast versus Brisbane, to watch two other teams, you can get a lot out of the trends and the way the game's going.
Did you play football as soon as people let you play football? Because Kambalda, there was a bit of reluctance, sexist, and then what happened?
Yeah, I wanted to, and I became aware that there was a women's league down at Melville. They were called the Melville Dockers, and I went down there and I had a couple of training sessions in between drills. Girls would be smoking. There'd be, a couple of VB cans coming out between a drill. And I thought, this is not professional. Where the way the game is at the moment is amazing and so much more professional. But yeah, back when I was looking at playing, I just was really deterred by the lack of professionalism.
Yeah.
Smoking at quarter time. It deterred me from wanting to continue to play. So I went and focused more on my cricket and my golf as well. And then probably 8 years later, it started to turn a little bit more professional, which was great to see.
So this is one of the questions I have around women's football. So I was very one-eyed West Coast. People will say to me, where's Geelong on the ladder? I have no idea because I'm only watching West Coast. Suddenly there are these incredible women athletes who I have no idea where they came from. I'm like, how are you an AFLW footballer? Yes, I'm terrible at knowing what people are doing, but they seem to come out of nowhere to me, these top-level athletes. So in the intervening years, like if you think of when people, it's so historic. I always say it's retro now if I see people smoking. Like you go and see these people smoking and having VB. How many years was between that disappointment and where we are now? Like, and what's happened in the interim? Was there a waffle W? Like what has happened?
Yeah.
These athletes are incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was 25 years ago. So that's when we're seeing that happen. And then we're seeing the Waffle W now so much more professional with the coaching and the medical as well. Like there was never doctors or physios at these games, but now there's a requirement that there is and a level of coaching that there needs to be. The game has certainly evolved, but I know a lot of people say, oh, wow, AFLW happened so quickly.
Yeah, it feels like it did.
But it didn't. Women were playing for over 100 years. They just never had the opportunity to play at the highest level.
Right.
But we have been playing for a long, long time. And to get the opportunity now to play for an AFL club is fantastic, that there's a complete pathway now for everybody, and we're in our 10th season this year, but there was a good 100 years before that of others paving the way.
Does anyone come into AFL football from another sport, or does everyone tend to grow up in that sport from a young child?
Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 had cross-coders coming into it.
Yeah, right.
And, we had Kim Mickle at Fremantle. She was a javelin thrower in the Olympics.
Wow.
Gemma Houghton, who came from basketball. So there was a lot of need to grab all these players from other codes so we could fulfil the teams. But now what we're seeing, these young girls that we're drafting last year, we've got 4 of them at our team this year, who have played since they were 5 years old. So they're getting drafted and they've played over 200 games and they are pure footballers and they're incredible. They're so incredibly talented. So this pathway now is working really, really well. And over the next 5 years, we'll see an incredible competition.
Oh, how exciting. I find the girls very exciting to watch. The thing that I marvel about most, I think, apart from their athleticism as someone who's not athletic, is their toughness. And I think, now this will be interesting, I don't know whether you can comment on this or whether you have an opinion, but I think the girls are allowed to be so much rougher with one another than the boys are. I've been to games where it literally looks like the girls are punching each other in the face and nothing seems to happen. And if the boys flick another jumper, they're held up on... Are you allowed to comment? Do you have a thought?
No, I don't. I don't know what games you're watching, but I would think that, I think they're both tough games to play.
Yeah,
and
right.
I've got so much admiration for the men that play the game and the women that play the game because it's tough out there. And, it's a tough sport and they're just getting faster, they're getting stronger. We had testing in the gym the other day and, what these girls are lifting is amazing. So they're really strong, athletes. It's remarkable.
I think that the level of strength and endurance, this is an opinion I've made up and you'll have to tell me if I'm right or not. I think their level of eliteness, if that's a word, the level of conditioning in their body, the level of discipline means that at times when injury happens, it's because they're working right on the edge of human performance. Like when someone hurts an Achilles or hurts a hamstring or hurts a knee, I think, is it because they're so on the edge of what's possible as a human, they're so primed to perform that actually there's not a lot of leeway? Or is that just, no, Tamara, you're not athletic, you don't know what you're talking about. Is there any connection there?
I'm not too sure. We're still building AFLW, so our players, we've got 2 players that work full time still in our team.
Right.
So our players are committed to being at the club for 22 hours a week for their training and obviously to be the best AFLW or AFL footballer. The professionalism and elite standards happens outside as well, outside of those 22 hours. So but we don't have our players for that complete to see what they're doing throughout the entire week.
Yes.
And so you just hope that you educate them and they're doing the right things to recover after today's training session to make sure that they're going to be ready for a pretty good solid hit out on training on Monday.
Okay.
And then an intra-club game on Wednesday as well. So, there's a lot of education. How much time are they spending on legs? Are they off shopping this afternoon and they're going to be walking around for 8 kilometres? Like, that's not ideal for an elite athlete. So you just hope you give them the great resources, the great education of what they need to do to get themselves ready for Monday, the next training session or the next game.
Yeah, that elite athlete, I think that's what it is, right? When I go to a game and I see them run past, whether it be the men or the women, and just think those are elite athletes. I always think of the men as like racehorses. When I see them come past and the level of build and definition. I was actually laughing with a friend yesterday because a little bit like basketball, when there's a shorter person playing, you think they're really short and they're taller than me. Yeah. Football, they're really big people, right? Often, particularly the men. I'm not so sure about the women, but the men are really, really tall and really, really wide. And if anyone's a little bit smaller than that, you think they're a little short person. And actually they're 6'1" and you know.
Yeah, exactly. And the game's changing so much. Like your inside mids just about in the men's game, they're nearly every single one of them are over 6 foot tall. Like they could be probably a ruck back in the day, but they're all that They're all really tall even.
Yeah, they're all that. That's right. I mean, I think people are getting taller in general, seems to anyway.
Yeah.
So when I think about this dream that you had and the love and the fulfillment of it, is it something that makes you feel lucky that that was there for you? Do you feel like you were gifted that sense of dream and love, or do you feel like you did something to be that way? Like, if you look back on your life, do you think, oh, wow, there's so many confused people running around and I was very clear. I feel really lucky around the clarity I had.
Yeah, very, very fortunate to be so clear. And I get that after I might do a keynote and there'll be a mum in the room and she'll come over and ask me a question at the end of it and just like, my daughter has no idea what she wants to do. And I'm like, that's okay. Like some people don't know until they're 65
Right.
what they're passionate and what they want to do. And that's okay. I reflect, I'm very fortunate to know as a young 14-year-old girl that that's what I wanted to do. But I reckon there was a couple of times where I got told that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And that I went, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
There was a bit of that there.
Yeah.
So don't tell me what I can't do
Yeah.
because I know I can't play because
Yeah.
the rule book said that I could not play because I was a girl.
Okay.
But the rule book did not say I couldn't coach.
Yeah.
So I'm going to coach.
Yeah.
And I was pretty driven.
Yeah, so you feel grateful for the love and the clarity, and then when you were able to also push through any barriers that came up, it sounds like through a combination of your love and clarity, but also a strength of character or I'll show you. Do you know where you got the I'll show you from? Like, is it either of your parents? Is it something that you developed as a child? Is it just your nature?
I think I am a stubborn person. Like I'm a Taurus. I'm a bit stubborn, I think.
Yeah.
My husband says that I might be as well. So
We normally get our most generous feedback from our... If you want to learn and grow, get married.
So stubborn or driven, had good resilience along the way, needed to have good resilience, got thrown things in the coach's box along the way, told me to get out of the coach's box. Women don't belong in the coach's box, things like that. There was a lot thrown at me, but I had to just come back to what I loved, and they can say whatever they want. At the end of the day, I'm doing something that I really enjoy doing, something that I know I can make a difference in, and something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, you know, us only having met once very briefly prior to this and then having this conversation today, if I think about seeing you speak and then seeing you speak today, I think the thing I'm most grateful for around you is because of this love and your ability to express that and your ability to be courageous, and then you can help other people, like you said, one, feel okay if they're 65 before the dream comes true, but also when I saw you speak and you were talking about making the difference, you can hear your heart as you speak, and you're sort of, I'll try not to swear this episode, you sort of come across like no BS, but no BS in the best of intentions. Like that thing about you when you were talking, remind me about the 42 seconds in case anyone hasn't heard it, where you were talking about the difference you can make and how quickly. That was very inspirational to me, and I noticed a number of people commented about it on LinkedIn afterwards or whatever, and like 42 seconds, baby, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What were you talking about there?
Yeah, that was through an experience. I was head coach of Melbourne women's team and development coach with their men's AFL team, and was at the footy club for 3.5 years, and Peter Jackson was a CEO at the footy club at the time, and I was a challenging time because I was fly in, fly out, so I had incredible people here helping out with the kids. They were really young, and Chris was all hands-on, and I'd fly to Melbourne for 3 or 4 days, and then I'd fly back to Perth and then fly back. And but yeah, I was back in Perth and watching the Melbourne Cup with my dad and my brother in our living room, and cheese platter and the champagnes and the beers and flowing and everything like that, and good camaraderie. Like, just absolutely love their company. And brother and I are 18 months apart, so quite competitive. Anyway, that was 2015, and Michelle Cowan was the first female jockey to win the race. And as soon as she's crossed the finish line, within moments, my mobile phone rings, and I joke about it, saying it's really un-Australian that somebody would call me at that time of the race.
That's
but,
right.
I glanced down at it, and it was Peter Jackson, who was my CEO at the time, and he never called me very often, so I had to answer. And so, picked up the phone and I said, "Hi, Peter." And in a really stern voice, he just said, "Michelle, are you in front of a TV right now?" And I said, "Yeah, what an incredible race." And he said, "No, you have just witnessed Michelle Payne change the face of racing in this country. You're doing the exact same for our game. Keep doing what you're doing." And the phone call ended, and I glanced down, and it was a 42-second phone call.
Mm.
And that's been so powerful for me, that phone call, in challenging times where I go, no, come on, get back on track, keep doing what you're doing. You're changing the face of the game, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's that leadership. I've had 5, 6 incredible men along my journey that have really empowered me, believed in me, and supported me. I've had about 30 others that haven't, but that's okay. I focus on these ones because there's so many great stories to share. And if you can surround yourself with these kind of people, you can do anything you want with your life. You can be anything you want.
Yes.
It's about surrounding yourself with the people that are going to champion you, care for you, support you along the way, highs and lows.
Yeah.
And that was a very powerful story and an incredible moment.
Oh yeah, it makes me cry. It's so, I never know the right adjective at moments like this. It's so amazing, wonderful. Like, I'm so glad you're you and you've done what you've done. And I love that it's come from love. You can hear it's not about anything apart from love and passion, and your ability to focus on the positive and use the gifts around you, the generosity around you, choose who's helping or not, making the choice for who's around. You've been a very clever cookie in terms of how am I going to be able to turn this dream out, and as a part of that, make so many people's dreams come true.
It's very kind, thank you.
It's very true.
It just feels the way that I've just been. But when I share my story with people, and I went back to Iona, and I remember 19 years old or something like that, and spoke to the year 12s, and I'm only 2 years out and I don't know anything.
Wow.
But I went back, and the amount of feedback I got from those year 12s to say, I'm going to follow my dreams. What's the worst thing that can happen is you go and follow to do something that you absolutely love and you're passionate about, and you might fall short, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I got rejected for a number of coaching roles.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in there thinking, what an incredible gift to go through the process, to learn about an interview process with that footy club has been great. I didn't get the job, but I'm going to tee up another catch-up to say, what was it that I didn't get the job for? Was it my technical, my tactical, my communication, my leadership? Because I want to go and work on that area. Because when this job becomes available in 18 months, 24 months' time, I'm going to apply for it again.
Yes.
So what do I need to go and work on?
Yes.
And then continue to remain connected with those people to 6 months later to say, you wanted me to really work on my tactical side of things. I've just completed my level 3 coach accreditation. I'm volunteering down here at this footy club, and I'm learning so much more. And you were absolutely right. I needed to be better at that, and keep slowly knocking on the door along the way.
Yeah, like unstoppable, and you always turn to the light in terms of oh, okay, what can I take out of this? I say to Danielle when we talk in here on Friday 50/50, she really helps me look at things from a more positive point of view, because as much as I love life and as much as I am joyful a lot of the time, I can also be prone to not seeing the positive point of view of the same situation, right? So I'll say blah, blah, and she'll go, oh, yeah, but another way to look at it, and that's what you do. So you go, see this other way to look at it, and you've been able to do it for yourself. But then when you're around people, the impact of that, because, you know, I'm a big believer in the ripple effect, and a bit like that fellow saying to you, you're changing this, the ripple is just a much bigger ripple. So when people hear you speak, when they work with you at the club, you know, the work, it's not just the work you do with your expertise around football. It's actually, I think, more who you are and your thing coming from love and the pure love of the game, love of people, supporting yourself and others, having a good time, but from the best of intentions. And you would have really faced, like you're saying, 5 who've been an awesome sport, 30 who haven't. You would have had so many times when you would have had to go, I'm keeping going, when everything around was like, maybe give it away. And you're like, nah.
Yeah, and I think the 42 seconds piece is around, like, every day we have a choice. As humans, we are gifted with life. We get to wake up, which is amazing. And when we wake up, we can choose to make that phone call or choose not to. So we can choose to influence the way that people feel or change the way that somebody's day might even be by a 42-second phone call or a post-it note that we're writing or a coffee that we're buying someone or a connection that we're having through LinkedIn. It's, our happiness can sit with us in the choices that we make in what we want to do to connect with people. And yeah, so we're all, every single one of us has the chance to influence the way that people feel, and that is an amazing position to be in. So choose to celebrate people, choose to connect with people, choose to give somebody that compliment at the coffee. It could change their day. It could save their life.
Yeah, I agree. I like to say what I'm thinking if I see someone do something nice or even look nice. And sometimes you'll say something. I remember this woman at Midland Gate, and she was so beautiful. She might have been 80, I don't know. She was just so beautiful. What she was wearing, her makeup, her face, her jewellery, she was just so beautiful. And she was sitting at the coffee shop on her own. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I just need to tell you, you are so beautiful. And she was already beautiful. And then her face lit up and she said, oh, thank you, dear. And I said, oh, well, it's all your fault. You know, you're really wonderful. And she said, oh, no one really ever says that to me. And I said, well, I don't know why not, because you're amazing. And it's so easy, but I don't know why we get shy. Do you have an idea why people get shy around not saying that to one another? Do they feel vulnerable? I often wonder, I think most people actually have a good heart. People have got different stuff on top of that good heart that can skew how they behave. But as I, you know, I have this great privilege in the work I do when I'm coaching people, and I get to know them, and I always feel so sad because I get to know them and who they really are and how wonderful they are, and then I see them in a work situation or a public situation with all the layers on top, not getting along or people not understanding them or liking them, and I go, oh, far out, man, like, this is you're an awesome person, you just don't know how to talk to one another. But I've sort of said 2 things at once there. What do you think it has when you go, I'm going to tell this person or I'm going to be this for people? Do you have an idea what stops people doing it? Have you ever thought about it?
Oh, it's a really good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we've got to do it more, talk about it more, celebrate it more.
Yeah.
So even for my team meetings at work, I'll start the team meeting with, does anyone have an example of kindness or belonging that they want to share with each other that they've seen in the last 7 days? Or have we not seen it in action, and do we want to talk about that kind of thing? Like, so I think we need to shine a light on it more. But yeah, I think there's so many layers and people are so busy that life takes over, and social media and phones and all of that we're probably missing, and I know I certainly am, missing opportunities where I can have more 42-second moments to make people's days.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, my concentration's over into something else.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think societally it makes sense that we can all be a bit distracted and, you know, including things like social media or what's really considered success. See, that's what I love so much about your story. Your success comes from a background of love, not from I want to look good or I want to do this for some other reason. It comes from passion, so the purity of it is there. I mean, look at even me, right? You and I walk past one another at a talk. You'd never met me before. You were Michelle Cowan. I was me, but you were Michelle Cowan there to do this keynote. And then you go, oh, hi, how are you? And then I go, I'll send you my video. You go, great. Then you go, I've listened to your podcast. Like, for me, that was like, oh my God. Like, I rang my dad and go, Michelle Cowan's listening to the podcast. And how generous was that of you? Like, you didn't have to do any of that. And all of that, you being here today, it's made such a difference to me in your busy life. Like, you literally be what you say. I think that's what it is. You be what you say. And I'm very grateful to you. I know I can be a bit, I think sometimes the reason people don't say this stuff is it can feel a bit gushy or not Australian, really. Like, cut it out. That's enough. But actually, it's a big deal. I saw this, I like seeing happy memes and things on Facebook, and there was one about kindness, actually, that I saw, and it was this idea in you when you said it could save their life, you know. I'll see if I can find it. I always do this. It takes me a while to find my photos. It's like talking to yourselves. They asked, I don't even know where it came from. They asked, why is it important to be kind? I said, because we walk past hundreds of people every day and none of them wear signs that say, I'm grieving, I'm exhausted, or I'm barely holding it together. But they're everywhere. Kindness might be the only softness they receive today.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, if we can probably do it more intentionally if we need to do that, like so we can hold ourselves accountable to it, whether that be through journaling or waking up with the intention to support and with kindness. If more of us did that, we'd live in an incredible world.
Be heaven, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because people are actually, I did a lot of training years ago with Landmark, which is a funny place, very good and very bad all in one. And after you do a weekend there and you've been talking to everyone and sharing honestly, and I said, I think heaven is where people are connected and hell is where they're not. Because actually, if people are able to connect and be who they actually are and be as kind as they actually are, it's just like heaven on earth. It's very unusual for someone not to be a good person deep down. I think,
agree.
Oh, there's so many good people.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I also learned through coaching was to be authentic. And some of the feedback I often get from keynotes is like, oh, you're such a country girl and just authentic in the way that you present, and you got no notes or anything like that. And I was like, I'm just telling my story. I don't need notes. My story is my story.
Yeah, I know
it like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
But I forget. Oh, yeah, when I was going with that is like there was a part of my career where I wasn't authentic to who I am. And it's my number one advice I'd give to people, coaching or work or whatever it might be, is don't pretend to be anybody else. You have to be yourself.
Okay.
And I haven't really shared this story before, but when I went to, when I was at Fremantle, I was doing a lot of coach speak, and I was trying to be somebody I wasn't.
Okay.
And that wore me down, and it just wasn't, I wasn't being true to myself. And people knew that. My mates knew that. My mates gave me good, honest feedback about that. Like, who are you? Like, we don't like this. And I was like, oh, it's good feedback. And I wasn't being true and honest to myself. And then I remember I always wanted to work for West Coast Eagles. Followed West Coast Eagles my entire life as a young girl. I absolutely loved them. And along my journey, I always reached out to Trevor Nisbet and asked him for a job all the time. And I think he said no to me 5 times or something like that. And then I went in and I organised another meeting with Nizzy and I went into Subiaco Oval, into his office, past Anna Durante, who's his EA, and I sat down with him and I said, I really want to work at West Coast Eagles. I love this football club. And I'd been at Melbourne, I'd been at Freo, and I knew I just wanted to be at West Coast. And Niz and I had a great chat for about 35 minutes or something like that. And he said, like, I really want to get you on board. I don't know what it looks like, but I really do want to get you on board. And then, so we kind of ended the meeting. I shook his hand and I walked out of his door. And then he said, Michelle, come back. And I walked back into his office. He said, on one condition. And I said, what's that? He goes, I want Michelle Cowan. I don't want you to be anybody else. I want you to be yourself. And that moment I went, he knows that I wasn't being myself when I was at Freo. I got in my car and I cried all the way home, like hysterically cried all the way home.
Yeah.
Called my husband on loudspeaker and he's like, what are you crying about? And I was like, he wants me to be myself. He wants me to be me. Like, I don't want anybody else, but I want Michelle Cowan. And that was pretty special. So, just be authentic, be yourself. If they don't like you, well, then that's okay. But just be yourself and, everything will work out.
That's so awesome. Were you crying from happiness or grief or both in the car?
I think it was a bit of both. It was like somebody else has realised that I haven't been my authentic self. Like, he's noticed it, somebody I absolutely admire. But then through relief of going, all right, Mum, this is me. You're going to get me. You're not going to get anybody else but me.
It was the challenge of that, but the absolute compliment of that. Him saying, I want the real you. How often would someone hear a line like that? The compliment of who you actually are and the challenge of, he's noticed I'm...
Yeah. Yeah, spot on. Yeah.
Do you know what triggered the not you part come out? Was it an expectation of what you thought things needed to look like, or was it a level of stress you were feeling, or do you recognise what it was?
Yeah, it was a challenging environment. I think every club, when they first implemented a women's team into a culture for 156 years that had men and one football team at the footy club, and then all of a sudden you've got these 30 women coming through, and I was trying to be somebody I'm not in an environment that probably didn't support where I wanted the program to go.
Got it.
But I think staying true to your values, and then when I wasn't staying true to my values, that's what really wore me down. And I don't know whether I was burnt out, but I was close to it. And I vouched that I would never, ever in my life give myself that feeling that I had through that stage of my career. And when I talk about can't pour from an empty cup, my cup was very empty. And now these days it barely gets past the top of the cup.
Hey.
Like, I am so constantly I know that walking makes me a great mum, a great wife, and great at my job. And when I don't get to go and do that, whether it be just the block or 18 Ks, whatever it might be, I just feel so good with walking.
Okay.
Other people, my husband, he loves cooking. I love eating. That's why we're married. But his cooking is his thing to just relax and unwind, or having a sauna or whatever, or whether we're reading a book or watching a Netflix series. I stay so true and vocal about it in my leadership as to looking after yourselves.
Yes.
So if I'm leaving at 3:00 in the afternoon, I'll say to someone, I'm going to go for a walk tonight. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to my walk. What's everyone else doing to fill up their cup over the next day?
Yeah, wow.
And we'll have a quick little 5-minute conversation about it. And I just think we we create really safe environments, supportive environments, and we want our people to love coming to work as well.
Yeah.
And you've got to often pour into so many people, whether it be 30 players and then your 35 staff, and you can't do that if you're not looking after yourself.
No.
It's so important.
That there's so much in that piece around coming from your values, coming from love and passion versus a feeling to look a certain way. One of the things that, because we, at my husband and I's business, we do leadership training, communication training, coaching, stuff like that, and meet a lot of wonderful people. And some of the least wonderful people I've met have been more senior people in organisations. And often it will actually be the women that will be surprisingly difficult. And I was talking to a guest on here, actually, Cindy Kennedy, who does a lot of work with people around their heart and what they're doing from their heart. I said, what do you think it is? Because I'm always curious. I'm always trying to be the most loving. So I'm always trying to be curious, what is my against thing with these people? And is it fair that I think that? And she said, I think what you're coming up against, Tamara, is a lot of people who are highly intellectual and working from their head and doing what they think they need to do to succeed, but not connected in with their heart, not coming from their heart. And when she said it, I thought, that is what it is. They're clever and they're ambitious and they're very good people, actually, but they don't feel safe enough in the environments they're in the cliched corporate environment to actually be, this is just who I am.
The vulnerable.
Because you've got to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
People say to us, what's the top 2 things about being a manager if they want something quick? And we'll say, catch up with your people often and find out about them. Be willing to admit your mistakes. Be human. And it's so disappointing to me as people rise that humanity can become less and less, and the impact on people below them. And that's the people I meet, the people below them. So I get too sad what the impact is. But you're the head of football and you're running things that way. So that means that flavour, that love is present. And it wasn't just when that fellow said about the jockey to you like that. I can tell you now, working with thousands of people over 20 plus years, the experience to have someone at the head of something with that attitude is very unusual, because normally it's about economics and about results and about drivenness and about we're here for the almighty dollar, and it is not about the things we've been talking about today. And then everyone underneath is trying to survive that, is trying to be themselves in it, is trying to find safety where there isn't safety. And my passion for what you're doing and what people in leadership can do just couldn't be stronger, because the impact is so massive and it's not always seen, but it's the reason people literally are still alive or blossoming in the best scenario. I had Peter Slocum in here. Do you know Peter Slocum?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay, so Peter's daughter was first draft pick for North Melbourne, I think.
Slocum,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you know Ella?
I do, yeah. I watched a lot of her footy.
There you go, right? So Peter's an athlete. Her children are athletes. Her ex-husband was an athlete. Very athletic family, right? And she often talks about in her work the strength of the athlete, the mental strength of the athlete. And so when I think about anything that's going on, any noise or anything else that's going on externally, when I think of what are these people actually putting in and what does it actually take and what are they actually doing to be the best they can be, it's extraordinary, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah. The control what you can control piece, like going back to the media stuff, there's just outside noise, and us within the 4 walls know what we're working really hard on. And, the boys coming off a really tough game last weekend, and I know the work, I've seen the work that they put in over this weekend. I'm looking forward to watching them tomorrow and how they respond after the way they played last weekend. And we know the work that goes on and that everybody is working really, really hard to turn things around. But then you can get all this noise coming in from outside. It's just important to stay the course, stay true to who you are.
Yes.
Surround yourself with those people who are supporting you to achieve what we need to do to turn this around.
Yes.
And make sure that you don't take the bait with the other stuff.
That's it. I think that surround yourself with the right people. I've learned it for a little while, but it's getting stronger and stronger when I have the right people around me with the right level of love for me, love for themselves, joy of life. I've been working with a coach that I've talked about here on Friday 50/50, Lockie Samuel. Have you met Lockie Samuel Mariu?
No, I haven't.
He goes up to, he originally was like the FIFO mental health guy and used to go up and give talks. And about 9 months ago, he had a massive stroke. He's only a young fella. Anyway, he's come back out of it and still does the kind of work he did, but now it's much more one-on-one, getting to the basis of where upsets come from, traumas come from, releasing lots of emotional work. And anyway, I've been working with him. And I said to him today, I leave him a message each day. I do a meditation and then leave him a message where I'm up to. And I was talking about you coming in, my excitement and nervousness. And he said, Tam, just be yourself, because he's my Trevor Nisbet, right? Be yourself.
Trevor Nisbet.
And I said to him, I feel his love and pride in me, and it's making an enormous difference. And I understand at a new level now. Danielle's been like it for me as well. It actually makes a huge difference to have the right people around you. But there's something I want to say about the media that you've made me realise. The media says what they say because they think it'll sell papers. That means the public wants what they want, and the public must still, to an extent, want if it bleeds, it leads, right? They must want the negative. So one could argue the public could, like, I haven't bought the West Australian in years, I could go on and on, as you can tell I won't, but that comes from somewhere, right? If they think the happy story won't sell the paper but the bad one will, it's up to the public to go, no, we're not. I've seen a lot of stuff online when they're like, I don't buy the West anymore because I love the Eagles, I love what they can do. And also connected to that, I think, so you don't have to comment on this, I think West Coast have terrible fans. I am a major West Coast fan. Probably a bit harsh, but I'll tell you why I say it. We won too early as a club. They joined the AFL. We waited 30 seconds. We won a grand final. We had the incredible players. What were they called? The fantastic... No, something rhymes with seven. The something seven.
Magnificent Seven?
Yes, thank you. The Magnificent Seven, the Turleys, the etc., right? Of course, I know Turley because I was a teenager at the time. Anyway, we won, and then we won, and then we didn't for a while, and then we won, and then we didn't for a while, and then we won. How many years has it been since St Kilda won a grand final? And they've still got fans, right? So actually, I'll reword it. We're not terrible. That's not fair because we're all still rocking up even when we're losing.
Yeah, they've been incredible this year.
Okay, incredible. We've been incredible. Okay, we're amazing. But what I would say is, because we didn't do what a normal AFL club would do and have to live through years and years and years of being supportive but not getting what we want, we've come from a particular start that makes it hard for us to be patient and loving. And everything's a big drama when we're in rebuilding, because we don't rebuild, we just win grand finals, Michelle.
Yeah.
And we're not winning them. Yeah. This is dissatisfying, right? Yep. So, I'll take it back. But I did want to say it because I think the public can influence the media, and I think the public can, if they come at the West Coast with love. Okay, one more soapbox thing and then I'll stop. I'm prone to a soapbox. When the team isn't doing well in a game, the crowd goes deathly silent. When the team's doing well, we go very loud. Could we perhaps cheer when they need it rather than to celebrate that they're doing well? You can comment on this. Do people in normal clubs that haven't had such a successful beginning, do they cheer when the team's not doing well in the game and then get louder as they do better, or are they as deathly silent as we are when things are not going well in the game?
I think they're all very similar.
Are they?
I think we get this adrenaline rush of excitement when we've kicked a goal and there's been a great passage of play, and we enjoy the company and the people we're around, and we get a bit of an adrenaline rush from it. So I think, everybody is very similar across the games, but we have been an incredibly successful footy club, one of the most successful over the last 30 years. And it's... but we have to acknowledge the past and celebrate it, be realistic about the present,
Yeah.
where we're currently at with
Yeah.
the team,
Yeah.
but be so bloody excited about the future, because we don't sit here for too long,
No.
West Coast Eagles. We are a very successful club, and we'll get to work, and I believe we'll have premiership success, men's and women's, over the next 2 to 3 years.
Wow. 2 to 3 years.
We are a very successful football club.
Oh, my God, that's so exciting. I was hoping for 5 because there's definitely some excitement coming up through the ranks, right? There's some young players. Oof, they're good. And I cannot remember the name of my favourite. I feel like his first name's Tyler. He might be Indigenous.
Dua.
Oh, I love that fellow.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these youngies, right, who are no joke, but they're coming up. They're brand new and they're coming up against, But my son, I take my son to the football and he's pretty neutral about it. So my dad introduced me to the football. I went to Subi. I watched Platten from Hawthorn run around with his hair and I was in. 15 minutes into the game, I'm like, this is the game for me, right? And it hasn't changed. My son, I go, you want to go footy? And he goes, okay. Anyway, off he comes. And one day I said to him, it was the game that we won earlier this year and I wasn't there. I was watching it online. I said, Sam, come here. And he goes, what for? I said, I think we're going to win. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, so when I was little, we won all the time. He said, I've never seen us win. And I said, I know, that's why I want you to watch this. And he goes, now I get why you like the football. I said, it is much better when we're winning. You just got to hang in there, Yeah. But, even against Collingwood, I mean, so exciting, so much to like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much to like.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm hoping
2 to 3 years.
I'm hoping
Michelle,
we'll
can
play
I hold you
finals
to it?
this year. I'm talking about our women's team.
Yeah, women's team.
So hopefully
hoping for finals
looking
this year.
incredible. We're this pre-season. I think every team's probably looking pretty good at this time of the year as they work through the world's longest pre-season. But we're in a really good spot, and Days with her second year under her belt is building on that first year. And I'm hoping we'll play finals this year.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
No wonder you're
excited.
excited. I've stuck on now 2 to 3 years. I'm stuck. But if anyone's going to be believed, it's you. So I'll get on board, right? This is what you do. I get on the positive train.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about? Is there any other message you want to give people or anything else? Anything else?
I think it's really around making sure that we always continue to look after ourselves and the mental health side of things, something I'm really, really passionate about and is close to me with my mum and her mental health that she has had since I was about 13 years old.
Okay.
And, the importance of getting support, getting help and reaching out, but looking after ourselves, and so we can pour our cup into everybody else.
Yeah.
And give our 42-second moments to everybody and a far better world we can all live in.
Yeah, I think that I think we will need to talk about the mental health element for a moment because it's so important. So recently we had the incredible, unthinkable tragedy of the twins at West Coast. When people have, when something like that happens, people will say you must reach out to the person that's suffering. And I put a LinkedIn post sort of pretty much all in caps saying when people are in a particular frame of mind, they can't reach out. Mm-hmm. They can't. The reason I know that is although I've been blessed never to have been suicidal, I've had many times, I've got a history of anxiety and depression. And in my most anxious times, part of the illness is not being able to be vulnerable because you don't think anyone is going to be there for you. And you think if I reach out, I'll just get rejected, right? When this is my opinion, I'm not a psychologist. My opinion is when someone gets to the point of suicide, their view of life has become tiny. They cannot survive any more pain. They have lost all perspective. They are literally not looking at life through any kind of sane lens at that point. As it leads up to that, they cannot reach out. They can't. Otherwise they would, and then what happens, happens. What happens wouldn't happen. So one of the things I talked about on LinkedIn, or I want to talk about here, is see people like you having the difference you make. You'll have a conversation with someone who you might not even know how much they're suffering, and that'll help them feel safe to reach out, right? Is there, and this might turn out to be a similar kind of story, but is there the right level of support within the AFL? Is it a cultural thing that people feel like they can't reach out? Is the devastation of the loss of the career too much for some people? I could not be less of a footballer. I can't put my mind into what it would be like to go from elite athlete to a different experience of life, and then at times, in these worst of scenarios, decide one can't live on this earth anymore.
It's obviously a society thing. So when the support that AFL clubs, the AFLPA provide players, there is so much support that regular society don't have the access to as
and
much as
post their career they can still access.
Post their career, it's there for the rest of their lives once you've played AFL football or AFLW football.
Yes.
So there is a lot of support. So I think when you're in that moment that you talk about where you can't seek help, I think when you are well enough to reach out to get the support, it's so important to reach out and talk to people.
Yes.
Whether that be for mindset, for performance, whether that be for self-trauma, whether that be for your marriage. And we, as footballers and like that, anybody, you look after your body and you go to the gym or you go for a walk. What are we all doing to talk to people? And we should all have counsellors or that people in our lives for our relationships, our partnerships, our business, and ourself. It's so, so important. So when we are well enough, I think that is the time to even just go, I don't know if I've got anything going on, but I just want to have a third party to have a discussion with.
Yeah.
And I had a player the other day. She's 18. She got drafted. And I just have a check-in coffee just to go, how is everything going? How are you doing? And she's like, I'm thriving. Like, things are so good. I absolutely love it here. I'm going really, really well. But I'm a little bit worried I might be suppressing something. So I'm going to book in. I've got a booking in 3 days' time to talk to somebody. I don't know where that conversation is going to go, but I'm just going to book in for a psychologist and I'm just going to talk. And it might take me somewhere that I'm actually suppressing.
Oh, wow.
And I went, wow, I'm just sitting here taking notes off you,
I was going to
18-year-old.
say, that's very impressive.
Very impressive.
I'm hoping that is actually the case. The more young people I meet, my son included, who's often more emotionally intelligent than me, I go, I think we're heading in the right direction, both for self-love, setting boundaries, being true to oneself. Certainly in the corporate world, they don't know what to do with young people because young people are not motivated by fear and they're not motivated by history and they're not motivated by status. So when the manager says, do this work, and they go, well, do I want to? And they're like, oh dear. So historically what I would do now is scare you and you would do the work. And they're like, yeah, that's not really an option. I'm still exploring. And they're like, what do you mean you're still exploring? You've joined our company and you should be aiming for CEO. And they're like, yeah, I don't know if I'll stay. But don't talk to me like that because I'm worth something.
So true.
I think it's going to be great training. I said to a senior leader the other day, I think these young people are going to be the best training for that other thing I was talking about, reduction of ego, reduction of what success look like, and people actually having to be real, get interested in what makes people happy because they will not be able to motivate these literal children unless they're human with them. They don't like BS. They don't like fear. They actually have self-confidence, which is very annoying to us who are older and are lacking it. It's beautiful. So, okay, so that's a very good point. So the message can be prior to, I saw a fantastic poster. I'd never seen it before. It was in the ladies and it said something like deal with the dog before it becomes the wolf. It was about how you'll get signs like that girl got, something's happening. I better have a look. That moment, rather than I'm swamped, I can't communicate with anyone, I've lost all sense of safety and I've lost, in the worst scenario, all sense of hope.
Yeah.
Prior to that, what are those things? And again, it comes back to this same piece. It's not weak. Like, what's that great line that people say? It's not, people put it on the back of utes when they're
Not
trying to
weak
help
to
me.
speak, but
It's
yeah.
not weak to speak. So actually flipping that whole narrative, which has been so confused, particularly in Australian culture, you don't say anything, you're tough, bit coming from the English background. Oh, yeah, you don't complain, you stiff upper lip. Actually, that's all right if you can do that. But for many people, that is the key to devastation, actually, of either worst case, their life, relationships, marriages. We all have stuff to deal with. We all come from somewhere that has good and bad. And if we can get onto it early, and we don't have to tell everyone, we can just go to one professional. They don't, it can be totally confidential. You don't have to come on here and go, oh, by the way, I'm off to have counselling.
Yeah.
I personally do that, but and no one else has to do that. They can secretly go off and get support.
Yeah, it can be over the phone, it can be a video, it can be as discreet as you like it to be, but I think the more that we can make it just the way that we all should be and all can be is okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe, it was that preventative rather than reactive, like I'm feeling good, but I feel like I should just have some conversations with some people to make sure I'm okay.
I'm actually okay. And the ability of that young woman, that emotional intelligence to go, there's something going on. I'm very happy, but there's something going on. My version of it used to be, because I've been through a very particular journey, I haven't had a particularly difficult life at all, but mentally, I've got mental illness on both sides of the family, and there's been a lot of genetic and others that I've needed to work through. When I was younger, I was always afraid of part of my brain. That's how I'd say it. There's something in there that I'm scared to look at. Turned out that was completely accurate and the right intuition. But having delved, because I was like, I'm not just living like this, right? Delve. Now I'm not frightened of myself. I'm not frightened of what will come up. I'm not frightened of the boogie monster that's living in there, because I've continued to bring them out and look at them. And have you ever heard this saying? It's my favourite. When it's behind you, it's a tiger. When it's in front of you, it's a kitten.
Yeah, I think I have actually.
I love it.
Yeah.
Peter's version of it was the walls of fear are paper thin. My husband's version, which I think he should write a book, is the terror of the ellipsis, the ... You know when, I don't know about for you, you might not feel it because you get up and talk and just tell your story. If I'm going to get up and talk, I'm nervous, but the nerves are more about what if this goes wrong. Once I get up and talk, it either goes wrong or right. Normally goes right. I had one time it went really wrong. I was like, oh, shit, this hasn't worked at all, and I'm very overconfident about my ability.
Before, yeah.
Oh, it's such a shock. Anyway, I got off stage, but I thought, now this is very good to notice. You're not comfortable because you like succeeding, but actually this feeling of failure is nowhere near as bad as the fear of it. Nowhere near. I was like, well, that was a dud. I don't think I'm going to be invited back here. Little giggle to myself and off I go home.
Yeah.
But prior, the thought of it. So what I'm, of course, trying to say in all of that is, whether it be being vulnerable or being weak or talking to someone or talking to you and going, actually, Michelle, I don't feel great. I mean, that's very clear. You could do that with you, but taking that first step is that's the narrative that needs to change. The strength is in being willing to be vulnerable, be willing to be authentic, be willing to be human, because it frees everyone else up. And honestly, it sounds so cliched, but you imagine one life is saved. I think when someone takes their own life, it's like a nuclear bomb, and the people near them, I can't even imagine. And then it goes out, but like this, right? And I think one of those not happening, the incredible relief and joy for so many people, let alone that individual. But we have to help earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because when the vision's like that,
Yeah, absolutely.
sorry, Grace, there's nothing to be done.
No, that's right. And Days and I, as the leaders of our program, we have such an honest connection and relationship. And I might walk into work and we've got to stand up and present in front of the team and the staff or something like that. And I would just walk in and we've just got this little pack, and I've got it with a couple other people, and it's like, Days, I'm a 2 out of 10 today. And she'd be like, well, I'm a 10 out of 10. So I've got this. What do you need me to do that you can't today? And I'll be like, well, this and this. And she'll be like, well, I got that. And I'm like, all right. And that's okay. And then we work well together.
Oh, yeah.
And then, and I heard this the other day, one of the AFL footballers was saying, it was just after the Adam Selwood, and he went out for dinner with 6 other guys and just said, and it was all having a few wines and dinner. Before dinner starts, can we just go around and tell us how you are actually going in life and how you are feeling right now out of 10?
Yeah.
And so they started that, and they went, I'm a 9 out of 10. I'm a 6 out of 10. I'm a 2. Things at home are not good. Wife and I are fighting, and and then I'm a 4 out of 10. And that changed the whole dynamic of their dinner. It wasn't about the footy results. It was like, oh, mate, how long has this been going on for? Like, do you think, what are you going to be doing about it? And they started to have genuine, honest conversations with each other that was supportive of each other. And he said, like, he walked away from it going, you never have those dinners like that where we're talking so honestly to say, I'm not doing well. I need your help.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, someone else is, I'm going through the same thing, and I've just got some help, and this is the person that I'm speaking to. And it's like, oh, so it's okay to get help.
Right.
So it's transformational.
It's transformational. And what are we all trying to do, those of us that are on this same train? It's trying to shift old patterns, old cultural agreements that don't work. We don't need to have them in place anymore. And the more it seems that people can just be who they are and how they are and ask for help and be safe to do that. And if they ask for help and it doesn't work, ask the next person. It's all right. Someone will be there for you. And that thing about, fancy having a colleague, you can go, I'm 2 out of 10, I'm 10 out of 10, and the safety of that. And, I was mentioning Lockie, the work he does. So I've been working up on site for a long time and like to think I've made a little bit of a difference. He goes up post his stroke and with all of his experience, and he's got this confidence about him, this rock solid sort of, I love it. It's so grounding for me, his strength. But he'll go up on site and he'll talk to people like we're talking, or like someone would be talking with someone who's in a great difficult psychological situation. And he told me he had a supervisor say, come and talk to my crew. And they all shared, a little bit like the dinner you were saying. And I said to him, the thought of being able to do that with my crew is so exciting and so unimaginable, because the level of safety that was there, there's not that much safety in a lot of organisations. It's very common for there not to be. Like feedback will be anonymous. It's like, why would you have 360 feedback be anonymous? That means it's not safe to say.
Yeah.
And they go, well, we have to do it so it's safe. And I go, it's totally symbolic of a lack of safety. If I'm working with Michelle and I can't say this doesn't work for me, Michelle, and I know she's going to be okay with that, there is no safety. It's just recreating the fear over and over and recreating the agreed, unhealthy, disconnected, suffering culture. It's a tragedy.
Yeah.
I like that we're trying something else.
Yeah, I think they're creating a safe environment, and we're seeing coaching is transformed over the last 6 years. So the dictator coach, there's coaches that are no longer coaching because they aren't able to transform themselves into this new leadership style, which is purely around care.
Right.
Showing genuine care for people, building relationships to get the best out of them, not dictator coach spraying them, you're useless, whatever, like back in the olden days. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So the Nathan Buckleys and the Dimmer Hardwicks, Ross Lyon, like they're all continuing, and Dimmer did it. He had to absolutely transform his leadership.
Wow.
And he's taken that, and then he wins the premierships.
Come on. How impressive is it when someone can do it?
Yeah.
Because, that other way, there's such an ego structure in place, such a perception of how they're seen to themselves in the media. I think it's incredibly courageous and very unusual when someone who's known as a hard ass can transform, because their whole image of themselves and others' image.
Courageous and brave leadership.
Amazing. Really amazing. It's so admirable.
Yeah.
Admirable.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's so exciting that that's the future. I love that I've learned the way that you work. I intuitively knew it. That's why I liked you, but I like hearing it for reals. Then I like hearing, and I like that my audience will hear about what the AFL is actually doing and being clear about the love and support within that organisation. And then looking at ourselves as fans, looking at the media and going, okay, let's be a bit gentle as these people are trying to do great things and realise there's a lot good happening. And 2 to 3 years, you have it here, folks. That's definitely going to keep me going.
Yeah.
Next time I might get tickets to be in the ground. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Tam.
Is there
Thank you for
anything?
having me.
Oh, it's been honestly just the greatest delight. It's so exciting for me. The combination of my admiration for you and my love of West Coast is just like it's heaven. Is there anything else we didn't say that you wanted to?
No, I think I feel like we could talk for hours and hours, but that's the safe environment you create.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just really love you. Oh, you're just so good, man. Like, thank you for being you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Excellent.